Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. All right, welcome to this episode of The Fierce Files. And today, and I think I probably say this every episode, but this one is extra special because today I'm introducing you to one of my Boston girlfriends. Her name is Kristen L. Pope. Now, Kristen is an award-winning journalist. She's a host. She's a sought-after speaker, encourager, mistress of ceremonies, and get this, comedian. Yes, she has done comedy too. Now, in addition to that, Kristen runs her own boutique production company, Pope Productions, and she's created her flagship variety show, The Positive Controversy with Kristen Pope. Now, if that wasn't enough, she's a media coach. She has an online course called On Air Academy. Now, Kristen credits her greatest treasure as mom to her toddler, Lily Lee Pope. Most recently, as if all the other stuff wasn't enough, you guys, she founded Mom Life Streets, an authentic conversations in women and motherhood, or for women and about motherhood. So when she's not working, she's spending time with her husband, Richard, and their daughter. Please help me welcome Miss Kristen. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hi, Fierce Files listeners. Thank you for that amazing intro, Nicole.
Well, let me tell you, I was trying to figure out how I was going to fit it all in. And here's the thing I absolutely love about you, Kristen, is you get to one pinnacle. And yes, I'm going right in because this girl, I mean, when I first met you, your energy is infectious and it doesn't shift. I mean, we go to dinner a lot and she'll walk in a restaurant and the whole restaurant stops. And it's more than just her outer beauty. It's her inner beauty that it just oozes out of your pores and you can't help it. Right. And the thing I love about you even more than that, and yes, I'm bragging on you, is that you don't stop at one accomplishment. There's more and more and more you do. So tell us a little bit about, every time you get this rumble, every time you get this idea, this inkling for that more, tell us about how you are able to push through and persist and do that next.
Okay, can I just love on you? I love you so much. And I'm so, you have made my time in Boston. I have to sidebar, y'all. She's made my time in Boston home. Nicole is my sister, and I love her so much.
Oh, I love you too, girl.
So it's interesting that you say that. I recently thought about, entering into endeavors and endeavor after endeavor. Mm-hmm. And part of it is because I can't do anything halfway. I honestly think that some of the ideas that I have might I don't know if maybe they're fleeting ideas or they're just passion projects, and that's okay. And maybe they'll evolve into something more or not. But there's nothing that I can do halfway. I give my all. And so even if it was just a fleeting idea, then somehow I pour myself into it because that's just who I am.
And even as you were just saying that, what just popped into my mind that I didn't say in your bio is even your whole notion of kingdom's daughters and pouring back into young women. I mean, this girl, I promise you, every time I see you, there's a new idea, and it's not just an idea. By the time I see you again, it's done. It's like, girl, when did you do that? Did you do that in between changing a diaper? Well, not diaper anymore, right? Or in between diapers, right? And between cooking dinner? And between being on stage or on the TV screen somewhere?
No, you're right. That's when it happened. That's right. Exactly when it happened.
So for you, Kristen, you could have stopped at one. You could have stopped at just being a journalist. Just being a journalist is everyone else's 100%. But yet you knew there was more. So let me ask you, every time you say yes to your next, what do you have to give up or let go to say yes to it?
I have learned now that I have to give up some level of controlling it and allow it to be what it needs to be. I have to give up some time, maybe with my family. That's honest. There may be a sacrifice there, and maybe some time in another area. But I feel like I guess I'm always focused on what I gain. And what I'm gaining is new life in another area. What I'm gaining is a new cultivation of something that God has put inside of me.
Mm. And the thing that resonates with me and you the most is God, is this whole, living into the highest and best version of who you were created to be, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
and tell, just talk to the ladies about that, because I know, one of the things that connected us quickly was this whole journey to be in our calling. We're going to stop here for a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Are you ready to live in the true power of your gifts and talents and get paid for it? Hi, this is Nicole Roberts-Jones, and I'm inviting you to join me in a city near you for the Find Your Fierce Experience. Go to findyourfierceexperience.com to learn more. Listen, your fierce is the magic formula that so many successful, focused women just like you spin your wheels seeking, but sadly never find. So you get burned out and give up on the possibility of creating a business and a life that you actually love. But at the 4-hour workshop I'm sharing with you during the Find Your Fierce Experience, you will find the insight and action steps designed to give you everything you need to bankroll your brilliance. So go to findyourfierceexperience.com and see what city near you I'm coming to and grab your seat. I can't wait. An afternoon with me and you, of me giving you all you need to bankroll your brilliance. See you there.
So God, it's just not cliche. This is my father. This is my heavenly daddy. Mm-hmm. And I will tell this if I can take the liberty to tell this story, tell a quick story. So last year was a very, very challenging year for me, personally and professionally. I started a really awesome job, the next level in my journalism career. And it was a temporary position, but when the door opened, I needed to walk into it because it literally was like the catapult to the next, next step.
Yes.
And so although it ended, in my opinion, prematurely, it was extremely purposeful. After it ended, I then had a very kind of severe bout of postpartum depression and anxiety. It was late because by that time my daughter was 1, and typically onsets like that happen soon after your children were born. Well, for me, it was late. And so this job ending, this postpartum depression, and by the time I got to the end of 2018, I was really in, I would say, kind of a place of needing to be rebuilt and to recalibrate what is going to be that next step. And so I started doing a lot of interviews at different media outlets, and I realized that I wanted more, and that the trajectory that I had in my mind was not exactly the same trajectory that God had in my mind. And he let me know that he was allowing me to go on these interviews to show me that I didn't really want that. Right. This isn't what I really wanted. What I really wanted was the ability to be a present mother, the ability to be a present wife, the ability to really own and fully step into, not halfway, but fully step into the gifts and the talents that God had called me to, and also the expertise that he's given me now in a 15-year career as a media broadcaster. He has given me a certain level of expertise that he's now charging me forward in. And so by the end of the year, I just said, you know what, God, I surrender. I fully surrender to what your idea for me is. And when I tell you, it feels like God has opened up the windows of heaven and is pouring out a blessing that I don't have room enough to receive. I don't know if I've ever been able to say that. Well, maybe I have. The year that I got pregnant, it was an amazing year. Pregnant, and we bought a house and just all this kind of stuff. But in terms of career, I do not believe I've ever been able to say that until now, that the Lord has opened up a window and he is pouring out a blessing that I am like, I have this big net and I'm catching blessings coming out the ceiling, coming from the left, coming from the right. And I'm like, I didn't see that coming. I don't know. Are my arms big enough? But God is so much bigger than us. He's so much bigger than us, and he wants us to surrender.
Right. And I love that you are using this word surrender. So tell the ladies, because if they're curious like I am, because surrender can be defined so many different ways. Tell us what that looks like for you.
For me, it looks like really allowing God to be in the driver's seat. It is allowing him to architect this life for me and me to follow his lead. It is allowing him to dream a bigger dream for me than I could ever dream.
Yes.
It's allowing him to download into me the desires of my heart that are actually his desires that have now become my desires.
Right.
It's allowing him to it's taking the limits off of God. We put limits on God about like, this is what it has to look like. This is what it has to sound like, smell like. This is the way it has to be. And God is like, okay, well, if that's what you want, a lot of times he gives us that. But then there is that space where God is like, but if you would just allow me to show you something, like, come with me real quick. I want to show you something.
Right.
And we take that faith step to walk across the street and allow God to show us what he wants to show us. Like, if you would allow me to do this, it would blow your mind. And when I say that is what surrender looks like for me, I have fully taken my hands off to say, it has to be like this. It needs to look like this. I'm like, no, God, up until now, it's been my year. It's been my year. But this is your year.
Yes.
2019 is your year. I've given the year to you. So that means I relinquish the control and the desire to need to control. And I want to see your results. Every year other than now, I'm kind of getting my results. I don't want that. I want your results. So I'm giving that to you. And from what we just in, what is it? It's not even February. It may be February. The Lord's results are off the chain.
Right. And the thing that's interesting to me is everybody wants to go after the abundantly above all that I could ask or think, right? Which is Bible verse, by the way, if those of you that don't know that, right? Everybody wants to go after that abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. But the key to it is surrender. Because if it's abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think, then what we're doing and in the middle of doing is not as big as what God sees for us.
Exactly.
That is so good.
Because that means it's above us. If this is exceedingly and abundantly above all that we could ask or think, that means that that's a grade above us. That's above our pay grade.
Come on.
If you could do it, you wouldn't need the exceedingly above all.
If you could do it, you'd already be doing it. Let's be clear.
Right. You'd already be doing it.
Right.
You would already be doing it if it was something that you could accomplish. But that more that you feel, that more that you see, that actually does require that extra level of faith to say, God, in order for me to ascend to where I see myself going, to where I feel myself, that thing, that more that you often talk about, Nicole, it will nag you, it will keep you up at night. And if you're and on the other side, if you hold on to too much control, it'll torment you.
Yep.
Because you know that your purpose for more, but somehow the where you are, the level that you are, and the more it's like, I can't get to it.
Because you can't see how you can get there. Because you can't see it.
That place in between is called surrender.
Right. And the
place from where you are right now to where you really want to go and where you feel like, God, that's the vision you put in my head. That's the vision you put in my heart. That's the place of surrender.
That's and you can tell we both getting excited because we both going in, right? And the thing that most successful women do, right? And I love that you brought this up, Kristen, because it's such a needed perspective. When we're powerful and God is rumbling up something in our spirit and saying, this ain't it, girl, there's so much more, because we've been strategic in the place we've gotten to. And we think that it's been our strategy, right? We think that we've gotten to this pinnacle of success because we have, and I'm not discounting, those of you that have gone to school and put in blood, sweat, and tears to get to that place in your career. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is usually God gives you a bigger dream than where you presently are. And that's that thing when we try to control it. When we let fear tell us we can't do it, or we start trying to take the strategy we use. Like, I got this quote from Kristen, by the way. You guys that are in my community, you hear me say this all the time, but Kristen said it first. The tools you used on this level are not sufficient for your next. We both got that from a bishop out of New York.
I got it from Bishop A.R. Bernard. That's right.
But you're the first person I heard say it. And I was like,
for the last 10 years.
That's so good.
I love that quote.
Right. And that is so true.
It's so true.
Yes.
It's so true. And for me, let me say that to put that quote into context, the tools that you have on this level are not sufficient for the next. To put that in context for me, what that looked like in 2019 or coming out of 2018 to come into this year was surrender.
Yes.
That's the tool that I am leaning on the most this year. It is full surrender.
Letting go of what you think it should be, letting go of how you think it should look. And I will tell you, the reason why I can even be here now doing what I do has been surrender. Because if I was doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, girl, it didn't look nothing like this. And even when I walked through one door, and I remember, many of you guys know that I had a youth organization for 20 years. And I remember toward the end of it, and this is real. I've not shared this on the Fierce Files, at least I don't think so. So in 1993, I started this program for African-American teenage girls. It spread through 10 chapters in 10 states. It was faith-based in 10 churches. And in 2013, God said to me, and I haven't heard God a whole lot, clearly, Right. I get, rumbles in my spirit. I hear little things, but I heard his voice clear, like it was time to let it go. And I was like, what you mean it's time to let it go? Right. And mind you, this had been my purpose. This had been me. This had been my identity. I couldn't have told you this in 2013. I get it now. And I said, okay, Lord, but why are you just not telling me this? He said back to me, because your ego couldn't have taken it had I told you before. Ooh, I was like, ooh, he is so right. Because my identity was so tied up into that. And I was so worried about perception and how things looked. And yes, I've been saved for a really long time, but flesh will always get in the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to rededicate and recommit. And to your point, Nicole, you are so not alone. I think a big part of even the transition, this pivot that God has taken me in, is that I thought, I really did. I'll be honest with the viewers. I thought that the anchor chair was the next chair for me. I thought that that's exactly where I was going, in a television news station. And I then went and interviewed for that role at a, top 10 market television station in Boston. And I got in the seat and listened to the interview, and I was like, this isn't what I want. This is not what I want. And I was so clear with, and it hurt me. It hurt me in my heart, because I was like, I just knew that this was the next step.
Right.
And it was, I said, God, why would you allow me to go into that interview if that's not where I'm supposed to be? And he said, I had to show you so that you know that's not what you want.
Yes. Because you've wanted that so long, and you've aspired to that.
I aspired to that. I mean, right. I got into the business, started from the bottom, made it to the top. And I was like, that's, obviously that's the next step.
Right. And
literally the Lord just kind of like shut it all down. Like, that's not the next step. But if you would trust me,
yes,
I'm going to blow your mind, girl. Woo. And what I have seen in less than 30 days of just lifting up my hands and saying, God, I surrender to you. And the truth of the matter was, after that, it's like, where else do you go? God, right. All I can do is come back to you and receive counsel and receive direction.
Right.
I have no choice but to surrender.
Right.
And it's been the best thing ever.
To know that you're being led by, directed by, because even in that moment, and be clear, she's telling the story now, just like I'm telling the story of when I had to walk away. It sounds easy coming off our lips, but it's not.
Oh, but it's not. I was hurting.
Me too.
I was hurting at the end of the year. I was like, my feelings were hurt. I was disappointed.
Me too, girl.
I was hurt.
And truth be told, look, that's why I said to God, well, why are you just not telling me? And those of you that know me, I pray to God just like I talk, because he made me. So he knows I got a little extra in me, right? So I said, well, then why are you just not telling me that? And when he said back to me, because your ego couldn't take it, I was like, ooh, all right, I received that. Okay.
Right.
Ooh, because I asked, right? Because literally so I did that for 20 years, but for the last 5, what God first said to me is, you keep trying to resuscitate a dead baby. Let the baby die. And that hurt. That's why I had attitude like, okay, well, then why are you just not telling me this? Right? But for 5 years, I kept trying to make it work, and it wasn't working anymore. It wasn't working because it wasn't meant to. And in that moment, I had a decision to make. Just like in that same moment for you, Kristen, you had a decision to make. You could listen. And this is the hardest thing, because we all know, whether you hear God's voice or you have this hunch that you aren't supposed to be there, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a friend, whatever that is. Because I've had that inkling with the guy I dated before my husband. I stayed there way too long, but that's another show, another conversation, right?
Girl, yeah. So,
right. And it's hard because, especially when for 20 years, just like for you, you've been working for this thing for 20 years, for 15 years for you. And it's not about how much time. It's the fact that you have built everything you've done around this thing. And now God is like, girl, that ain't it. And then what's so interesting, he didn't tell me that when I let that go, this would be it. He just told me, let it go. I was like, well, then what? Silent. Oh, okay. So now you're just telling me to trust you? And if I knew then what I know now, I probably wouldn't have had attitude and why you just not telling me, right? But that's what faith is. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Right.
And I think sometimes he doesn't show you where you're going because you'll be so scared because it's bigger than where you already are.
Completely. Completely. He knows the end from the beginning, and he has the aerial view.
Ooh, so come on, aerial view. Wait, stop. Somebody needs, wait, hold on, girl. Don't go past that. That was so good. Somebody just needed to hear that. He has the aerial view. I need y'all to just sit on that. Because he can see all things. So he's seeing the end from the beginning, the middle, all of it. He has the aerial view. For a minute, just think about yourself in an airplane and how much landscape you can see. And God's landscape is way bigger than any little landscape we can see from a plane. Girl,
it's way bigger. This revelation for me, the aerial view has completely changed the game for me because it lets me know that there is no action, event, decision in my life that's disconnected from the next one.
Woo!
So when he doesn't show me something, I'm standing here and I can't see all the way down the street. Maybe it's because, like you said, I'm not ready. I need more preparation. I don't worry about that now because God has already gone ahead of me and seen, and whatever's down the street is not disconnected from what happened to me 20 actions ago.
Right.
They're all connected.
Right. I always say it's like the GPS right now. Yes. Before I had a GPS, I remember I would have that MapQuest printed out in my car, and living in Massachusetts. Let me just tell you, when I first moved here, it was when GPS kind of first started. And I remember trying to get to a meeting, and it was about 3 center streets, and I kept turning on the wrong center street, and I pulled over, and my husband couldn't help me. I had decided to go back to the highway. I couldn't find a highway. I just pulled over and cried. I'm like, I'm just lost, and I have nobody to call.
I had one of those moments in Boston too.
Girl.
Girl.
And this is what I want you guys to get. When the GPS came out, you don't worry about all the direction. You just worry about the next step. And what God began to show me, and mind you, that GPS doesn't tell you the step after that until you're in the middle of the step that you just did. So when the GPS says turn left, it then will tell you turn right in another quarter mile. But you got to turn left before it says that.
Right.
And if we could just be in the moment now, and I tell my clients this all the time, stop worrying about how you're going to get all the way to the end. We're going to get there. Just be where you are right now. Do that fully and completely. Because if you focus on the destination, the final destination, all the stuff you need to do between here and the destination will be lost.
That's right. That's right. You'll be distracted. Yep. You'll be so distracted. The destination, a lot of times for people who are on the journey, is a distraction.
Yep.
Is a distraction because you're not able to be fully present where you are and to accomplish that and to do that in full excellence and in full presence because you're focused on the destination, which may change.
Yep. And God's not going to tell you that either.
You may be focusing on a destination that may change because you may be rerouted.
Yes.
You may have to pull over to the side of the road, whatever. We are exactly what you said. We are to focus on exactly where we are. And God already knows that next step. The interesting thing about the GPS is when you put in the instructions, the GPS lays them out to you for the whole map. He knows exactly where you're going and to the destination. That's the GPS already knows that. But our responsibility is the next step.
Yep. Just one
right
step
where
at
you
a
are,
time.
and to trust that it's going to tell when it tells you the next step, you take it, and so on and so forth until your destination.
Yes.
And that to me right now is full surrender. It is walking by faith and not by sight.
Look, this is preaching to me too. Look, I might be hosting, but I'm taking notes over here too, because here's the thing I also want every listener to get, and I'm talking to myself when I say this. So when you get to a pinnacle of success, you've done great things. God is always looking for your next. And the thing that's the hardest is because, again, I said it a few minutes ago, told you I got this from Kristen, the tools you use on this level are not sufficient for your next. So my bio, my resume is over. It's done. That part of Nicole is done. That's the 2018 version of me. She's complete. So I'm not working on her. I'm working on the 2030 version of me. So that version scares me. And God, like you said, only gives you glimpses. And if he showed me the whole thing, I probably would be so scared I would be sitting here, sitting still.
You'd be in paralysis, paralyzed.
Totally. If I knew in 1993 that I'd leave California, let me just stop on that in this cold Massachusetts winter. Okay. If I ever thought I would ever leave California, that would have given me pause by itself. Let alone all the things. I know God had to move me out of California to then tell me that just not even 10 years later, I moved in 1995. By 2013, God said, okay, baby, this is over. Bye. So I live in a whole nother state where all my friends aren't here, and you telling me to start over? And yet where I am now, I feel a rumbling of something great is going to happen again. And I'm scared. I'm being honest. I'm scared because I don't know what it is. I don't know what he's going to ask me to do. And I'm going to do it because I've learned, especially after that, how come you just not telling me? And he told me because my ego couldn't take it. I'm like, Lord, let me keep my ego in check. I've been here with you before. I'm not going to be that girl again. But it's still hard.
And you have to tell yourself that. You have to tell the old you, like, you're not going to get in between me and what God has for me. Actually, you need to stay in the back because you don't know, you're not equipped to handle whatever God has taken me. So you got to chill back there. I can't worry about you right now. The present me and the me that I am becoming, that's where God is taking to the next level.
Now y'all see why I love Kristen, right? Because she just went in, right? Oh my God, this conversation is so good. And listen, I know, knowing Kristen, we could be talking about this for the next 3 hours. So if you had to girl, so, and I know we will. So if you had to give the ladies that are listening 3 things they have to do, whether it's to surrender, whether it's to say yes to the next level, whatever you feel on your spirit that they need. If it's more than 3, we can do that too. What would you tell them, Kristen?
Well, you all have heard it more than enough times, but the first is surrender. Mm-hmm. The first one is fully surrender, because we do that a little bit. Mm-hmm. You may surrender just a little bit, or surrender a piece of yourself, or I'll give God this access, or I'll give him that, or you surrender and you take it back. Like, it's like, God, I'm playing. No, fully surrender every day. Right. Lay your life down at his feet and say, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. I want your results, not mine. The second thing is to let go of the outcome. That is really letting go of control. If you go and you do the work and you are so beholden to what it has to be or what the outcome has to look like, and you have, all of this control, and let go of the outcome. Yeah. Let go of the outcome. Allow. The only way that you can see the exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can imagine or think is if you let go of the outcome, because your outcome will never be as big as what God can do.
Come on.
So that's number 2. Number 3, accountability. Accountability. I am so grateful for all of the accountability that I have in my life that has challenged me and pushed me to be a better me, but also to commit to the things that I say that I really want to do. Accountability for some people is scary because it means that you have to be vulnerable and transparent. Yep. I love to be vulnerable and transparent because that God can deal with the real me. I've heard the phrase said, or the cliche said a number of times, God can't bless who you pretend to be.
Come on. God can't bless who you pretend to be. Somebody just needs to tweet that.
God can't bless who you pretend to be. So I need for him to see the real me. And then I need to surround myself with people that I can trust, who will then also say, Chris, you need to level up, or Chris, you could do this, or Chris, I love that you're doing that. Now do it this way. Like that's a built-in system that we should have.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So ladies, you heard it. Kristen went all the way in. Number 1, fully surrender. Don't just put your toe in the water. You got to jump all the way in, right? Number 2, let go of the outcome. And to me, the biggest way you can surrender is to let go. I often say it like this, when I used to go to McDonald's, because I'm not supposed to be going to McDonald's, and I haven't been in 2 years, but when I used to go to McDonald's and order a filet of fish, I would go to the drive-up window, right? I'd order my filet of fish. And then I let go. I didn't worry about if they had the special sauce. I didn't worry about if they had filet of fish. I didn't worry about any of that. All I did was drive up to the next window to receive it. And it really is that simple. Let go. Let go of how. Let go of when. Let go of why. Just fully surrender into trust. And then
it is a trust. And you know what, Nicole? I had a conversation recently with a young woman she was so scared. She wanted to let go, but you could see she's so scared. And I asked her, what are you afraid of? And she said, I'm afraid of the unknown. I said, well, let me tell you something. You already know where you currently are. That you know that you're in a place where you're not happy. Right. You know you're in a place where you want to change and where you need to shift. So can we flip the perspective and say that what you don't know has got to be better and more exciting than where you currently are? Ooh. How about if we flip that perspective? You're sitting here in fear, but you flip the perspective to say there's an opportunity in the unknown because I've already done what I know and it hasn't worked for me. Right. So I'm going to leap into the unknown because that's got to be better. And I give God the opportunity to do what only God can do.
Yes.
Versus what I've been doing.
And, as you said that, which is so good, it reminded me. So when I started dating my husband and he moved to Milwaukee, this is before Boston. Gonna give a pause for that, right? And by then I fell in love, and then we started looking at getting married, all that stuff, right? And I was trying to find and you guys know I'm transparent, so I was trying to find any girlfriend that would tell me I needed to not move, right? I was trying to find somebody that would tell me, don't go, girl, don't go, you can't go, right? So all my girlfriends were excited. So that made me kind of angry. Then at the time I had a nonprofit, so I had a board meeting to do a vote, and I thought my board was going to vote no. They all voted yes. I was like, Jesus. So my coach at the time, I just knew she was going to coach me not to stay. And here's what she said. Not to go. Here's what she said. She said, when you started your organization in 1993, did you know what you were doing? And I said, no. She said, okay. So why do you need to know what you're doing now? Girl. And that's what surrender is. It's being in the moment. It's letting go. It's letting go. And so in that moment, she said, so what can you do different? Which is what made me think of what you said to the young lady. And I said, I just need to just do it. She said, okay, great. What symbol can you get? And I said, I can get a Nike swoosh and remind myself to just do it. So then that's when I pulled out a Nike swoosh. I had it on my then vision board. I have a new vision board now. And literally, I just kept looking at it every day and just do it. And some days just do it meant waking up and taking one step. Some days just doing it meant, okay, let me figure out how I can pack my apartment this week. I mean, so it's literally just taking one step every day. And over time, things begin to materialize in the middle of it, which leads to your number 3, accountability. Because without having a group of sister friends around you, because this journey can be lonely. You know, I love that you shared that you went through about a depression. There are times where you will go through some hard things and you need that accountability to pull you up, to be strong when you're weak, to strategize with. Like when I tried to call all my girlfriends separately, I didn't call them together to tell me not to move. All of them went full in on me separately. Right.
I think it's so funny that you were exhausting. You were exhausting those girlfriends.
Girl,
like, I'm gonna find the
I was
one.
trying
I'm
to
gonna
get
find the one that
somebody
needle in a
tell me not to
haystack.
go.
Tell me no.
Because I was scared. What if it didn't work out?
Yeah.
And had I not moved, Daryl is my absolute best friend. I was scared because of all the men I had dated before, and I can go into that too. But I had to let go of all that too. So every great lessons, if you think about every great lesson that we both have learned, has been in the middle of surrender and letting go.
Yeah.
That's so good. Thank you, Kristen, for everything. You know, I'm going to have you back because, girl, there's so much more she could talk about. But just...
let's do a part 2.
Girl, yes. You're so funny. Thank you for it. We will do a part 2. It's going to be later, though, because, you know, I got to have her back. Because she's thebomb.com. There's so many other things. I want to have you come back because, look, now you're going to have me extra watching because I love to see God's handiwork. So we're going to have her come back after whatever God is doing materializes. So you guys can be firsthand and hear it all, right? So thank you for always being transparent, for always saying yes, for pouring into so many of us, for all that you do as a mom, a wife, a great girlfriend, and for being the woman that holds a space that other people can go after. They're abundantly above all. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.